Hello, I'm George Maschke with antipolygraph.org. I'd like to follow up on my earlier commentary regarding the polygraph examination of Larry Sinclair of Duluth, Minnesota. Larry Sinclair, as you may be aware, is the man who gained notoriety for having posted to YouTube in January of this year a short video clip in which he alleged that on 2 occasions in 1999 he performed oral sex on and used cocaine with Barack Obama, who at the time was an Illinois state legislator. In making these allegations, Mr. Sinclair challenged Barack Obama to take a polygraph test, and he offered to submit himself to a polygraph test too, regarding his claims. Well, the next month, Dan Parisi, who runs a website called whitehouse.com, challenged Mr. Sinclair to take a polygraph test that he would arrange and offered him a cash prize if he were to pass it. Mr. Sinclair took him up on the offer, and the examination was performed that month, February, by one of America's best-known polygraph operators, a past president of the American Polygraph Association and a person who's made numerous television appearances, Mr. Edward I. Gelb of Los Angeles. And the result was that Mr. Sinclair failed both tests. You might think it's as simple as that. Okay, he's lying and his claims can be dismissed, but what I'd like to explain is that while there are ample reasons to be skeptical of Mr. Sinclair's claims, his polygraph results are not among them. The key thing to understand is that polygraph testing, lie detector testing, has no scientific basis whatsoever. There's a very good reason why it's seldom allowed in the courts. It's because it's junk science. And this is not a controversial issue among scientists. There's very broad consensus among scientists who are at arm's length, who don't make money from giving polygraph tests, that polygraph testing has zero scientific basis. It's not to be relied upon. But there are more complications that arise from the way that whitehouse.com conducted the polygraph examination that I'd like to explain, and that I think are important to know now that both Mr. Sinclair and whitehouse.com are going to be holding press conferences at the National Press Club tomorrow on the 18th of June 2008. Key among them are the fellow who did the polygraph examination. Although he's one of the best known polygraph examiners in America, what's not so well known is that he's an academic fraud. He claims to be a PhD in marketing his services, but as antipolygraph.org has documented thoroughly, he never received such a degree from any accredited institution. He got his diploma from a mail-order diploma mill. That speaks to his credibility. Other issues that are of concern that really complicate things. The computerized scoring of Mr. Sinclair's polygraph examinations in at least one case, because there were 2 question series, one on sex, one on drugs. With regard to the drug issue, the computer said that Sinclair passed with flying colors, less than a 1% probability of deception. Keep in mind, this is junk science, but that's what the reading says. And yet, through his hand scoring, Gelb reached a completely opposite decision, saying that Sinclair was deceptive regarding the drug question. Now, there's no explanation offered. How could they reach such, he and the computer reach such diametrically opposed results? I don't know. This is something that perhaps Mr. Gelb can explain. Another unusual thing about the polygraph examination is that Mr. Sinclair was not told at the end of it what the result was. It's common practice among polygraphers in the United States to inform the examinee of the results at the conclusion of the exam, especially if the result is deceptive. The examinee is supposed to be offered the opportunity to provide an explanation as to why he might have reacted to the questions that were asked. So I'm not saying that Mr. Sinclair is telling the truth, far from it. My point that I think we all need to understand is that polygraph results are not evidence, cannot be evidence of guilt or innocence one way or the other. Finally, lest you be concerned that I'm some sort of a shill for the Republicans trying to bolster Larry Sinclair's credibility in an endeavor to swift vote Barack Obama, that's not the case. Antipolygraph.org is a nonpartisan website. The polygraph issue is one of science versus pseudoscience, of reason versus unreason. It's not Republican or Democrat. And my critique of the polygraph examination of Larry Sinclair would be the same if his allegations had been against John McCain. For purposes of full disclosure, let me state for the record that I am registered independent, but I support Barack Obama and have contributed to his campaign. If you are a journalist or a serious blogger and you have any questions regarding the polygraph in general or Mr. Sinclair's polygraph examination in particular, please do feel free to contact me. The best way is by email. My address is mashke, M-A-S-C-H-K-E, @antipolygraph.org. And if you click on the information for this video, you'll find a link to additional contact information. Thanks for your time.